Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining the Iowa Association of Business and Industry's weekly business report. My name is Steffi Lee, and I'm the Legislative and Communications intern here at ABI. This week, we have Tim Gould, who is the Director of Field Advocacy for the Upper Midwest and Great Lakes regions for the National Association of Manufacturers. And we also have Brad Hartkopf, who is the Director of Public Policy here at ABI, and he's one of the two full-time members of ABI's public policy team. So thank you both for joining us. Tim, what is the National Association of Manufacturers seeing in terms of workforce issues for manufacturers?
Workforce shortages is not a new thing to manufacturing, unfortunately. Even prior to the COVID pandemic, at the outset of the pandemic, there were about 500,000 open jobs in manufacturing. That number is up to about 860,000 now. So the pandemic just adding new strains and complications into that dynamic. Previously, and it still exists. You know, we're battling the perception issue of getting people to want to come work in manufacturing and what modern manufacturing looks like. You know, we recently had our Creators Wanted tour swing through Iowa to kind of highlight that as part of our effort to try to just get people thinking differently about working in modern manufacturing. But with the additional strains put on the workforce, you know, now all sectors are seeing it based on COVID with labor shortages. It's becoming very competitive now. You know, we're competing not just other manufacturers or battling this perception. We're competing with all the businesses to try to bring people in to work. So what we're seeing happening, both employers in some states are taking action to support this too, is competitive work to try to draw in the people that want to work, but for whatever reason have hurdles that are preventing them from doing so. Issues like transportation, availability of housing, if they're expansion areas trying to draw workers into an area, and another issue too that's very important for working families is childcare.
Thanks, Tim. And Brad, what proposals are we seeing at the legislative level here in Iowa related to workforce, and why is workforce an important public policy priority for ABI?
One key issue under workforce is unemployment insurance reform, and there's a bill that's moving through the legislative process right now that addresses those concerns and really tries to take our unemployment insurance system and make it a reemployment system. We know that our members across the state, manufacturers, construction companies, those in other industries as well, are looking to hire folks right now. And so we're looking to get this legislation passed both the House and the Senate and to the governor. And a couple of the key features of that include shortening the duration of time that employees can be on unemployment, and also enhancing suitable work requirements. And so the goal being, again, to make Iowa's system a reemployment system and keeping people attached to the workforce. And workforce is the number one thing that we're hearing about from our members. Again, we have 1,500 member companies located across the state of Iowa that are working in a number of different types of industries. And that's what we hear from all of them as we have our legislative session, as we have our regional meetings in May and June, and as we have our conference, and then as we have public policy meetings in August. This is what we're hearing about. So we're really excited about what is being considered right now at the legislature, and we're going to see some major bills move on this year.
And Tim, in addition to workforce, we hear a lot about the supply chain issues nationwide. And so what can manufacturers do to respond to some supply chain issues that they're experiencing?
Obviously, there's an expectation that the federal government will take some action to try to alleviate this as much as they can. That can come in the form of workforce participation, incentivization programs, which again ties back to the workforce challenge, kind of is making the supply chain issue just that much more of a challenge. And then also to just directing more resources to ports as well, to make sure that they're all able to be fully staffed, you know, if they're able to and to process, things coming in from overseas and transporting in. Additionally, too, we are working with our members to try to provide operational thought leadership on operational solutions that they can handle too. You know, as we wait for government to take action to try to solve things, manufacturers are also very pragmatic, want to see what they can do, without having to wait for the government. So we've been trying to help them, trying to work with them. Provided webinars on the topic, approaches to utilizing automation. Ways to rethink how they prioritize their work so they can set foundations so they can maximize their output and be able to be prepared for it. Because and the biggest thing that's just it's a cliche to say, but just prepare for the disruptions. You don't know what shape it's going to take, but just everyone just has to just kind of build that into their assumptions and their cost projections and things like that. Additionally, a big federal level priority that the NAM is monitoring is there are two China competitiveness bills that have gone through both the House and the Senate. In June of 2021, the Senate passed its bipartisan USICA bill. And then just recently, the House passed their legislative response, the America Competes Act. So the next step is for both of those chambers to come together and reconcile and compromise out the difference between those bills, and then vote on the agreed upon thing, get it passed into law. We are going to remain actively engaged in that, and getting this bill passed through. It remains a top priority for the National Association of Manufacturers, working to make sure that our policy priorities are included in whatever compromise ends up coming out. And those priorities include funding for additional to incentivize domestic semiconductor production, anti-counterfeiting measures, and then also the reauthorization of important trade programs like the miscellaneous tariffs bill and the generalized system of preference, and other things as well. And we're particularly working. The House version had a few provisions that were added in relatively late that were somewhat problematic, that we're working to address and communicate with members to make sure that they understand, whatever this the conference report comes out, that as many of those harmful or prior policy ideas are taken out of the final version.
Thanks, Tim. And Brad, outside of the legislative session and meeting with lawmakers, with our manufacturers and member companies, what else can stakeholders as well as ABI members do just to engage the policy process throughout the rest of the year?
I'd say a key thing that members and those in the business community can do to really have an impact on issues that are being considered by ABI at the Capitol is inviting legislators into your place of business so they can see how your business operates and really talk about workforce issues and how you have jobs available, but there just aren't individuals there to fill those jobs. That can really make a difference when a legislator is exposed to seeing how a business works and why that business owner or that legislative team is requesting a certain ask of that legislator to support a certain policy at the Capitol. So that's one thing. Another key thing that members can do is join a public policy committee at ABI. We have 5 of those committees, and they meet during the month of August each year, and we review our current policies and go through line by line, and we ask if they want to edit anything, or if they want to add anything or strike anything. So it's really a grassroots process at ABI, and that's the way that we like it. We're bottom up, not top down. And so the members do really tell us what we're going to be doing at the Capitol from January through May. And then another thing members can do is really just reach out to ABI staff, myself, and then JD Davis, who is our Vice President of Public Policy. If you have questions about what's going on with workforce or manufacturing issues or other key things that are being considered at large, you can always reach out to us, and we'll be available to answer questions for them.
Great. Thank you, Tim. And thank you, Brad. And thank you both for sharing your insight on manufacturing and workforce. If you have any questions or want more information about Iowa ABI or the National Association of Manufacturers, you can check out their websites at iowaabi.org and nam.org. Thank you so much.